Peace. What's good? How y'all doing? This is ZaZaAli. Today is May 7th, 2022. I pray that this message reaches you all in the best of health, spirit, and mind. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking or even thinking it. Today, we're going to talk about, or today's topic, I should say, is living in truth. Sorry, I have 1,000 notes around me. I have three notebooks on my desk. I should have cleared this off before I sat down to start this video. But today we're going to talk about living in truth. And it was funny because yesterday I actually sat down and recorded this video. And my intention for these videos is to keep them under 30 minutes. And I ended up talking for 49 minutes. So then I had an issue with downloading the file. I still have it, but I'm gonna post it in my womanhood group, my sovereignty of self group, and let those women have access to that information because it's a little more lengthy. So I'm gonna do another variation of the topic today. Before I get started, just a reminder, if you ever want to work with me one-on-one as a consultation, individual consultation, or in my 90-day course, The Science of Self, you can contact me at info@zazaali.com. Also, I am launching today. We have our first workshop, The Sovereignty of Self, How to Thrive in Times of Uncertainty. That's a 90-day course for a group of women. So if you're interested in that, you can email me or I will post the link below. Um, yeah. And one more thing. With this whole situation yesterday, with me having this issue with my recording, and it's something that I've been working on and thinking about for the last week, it was a good experience because I got clarity. I've been really kind of, I hope the fork tunes in the background don't disturb my sound. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. One of my neighbor's dogs has been barking all morning. So I wanted to kind of drown that out. I don't hear it now, but hopefully, you know, he or she can settle itself for the next 20 some odd minutes. If you guys have dogs and you have neighbors, you might want to consider, you know, nobody wants to hear dogs barking all day or for hours. But with all of the stuff that I've been doing for this past week and prepping for this course, as well as, doing these particular videos, I told you guys I have 10 subjects that I want to, do in this fashion. It dawned on me that it didn't dawn on me, I'm going to start a membership page, a subscription based page. And then I'm going to be able to, continuously every day or every other day or however I so feel inclined to post this type of content for my supporters. Uh, Most of the people that watch my content are, followers and spectators, and hopefully you guys are benefiting off of, what I do. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna create a space and start really focusing my energy and my intentions on my supporters. So those of you guys who subscribe to this channel, I'm gonna be doing these type of videos consistently, but I'm also gonna be doing short and long presentations about all the stuff that I can't talk about online, all the things that are going on in my brain at any given moment. And trust me, it's a lot. I'm going to, I can wake up every morning and do this with my eyes closed. You know what I mean? But I can't do it for free. And I would like to do it in a controlled environment where, people of like minded capacity are engaging with me, opposed to it being, the wild, wild west. So, I'm going to continue doing these videos, but I'll be putting up clips of them on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram to post this group. I'll still be putting up, content here and there online for everyone, but I think tomorrow I'm going to do the spiritual hibernation topic. And then I'm still going to do the rest of the topics out of the 10, but I'm only going to be posting clips of those on social media. And then for those of you guys that want to, like really have access to my content, you'll know where to go and you'll know what to do. And that's just how I'm going to be moving forward. Because social media has censored my content so much, it's greatly affecting my book sales, even though I pay for advertising. Like, I'm paying the same amount of money, but the results that I'm getting are very, very, very different in terms of book sales. So I know I'm being penalized for speaking truth. And then also, I think I've hit a plateau or a wall, so to speak, with my pages, my followers, where now it's no longer a reciprocal relationship where, my book sales or my support matches, the numbers of people that are actually watching my content. I'm just getting views. You know what I mean? So we're going to switch gears and we're going to do it in love. You know what I mean? And for everybody else that continues to follow me on YouTube or these platforms, I'll still be putting up content occasionally, but this is going to be where my primary uh, uh, focus is moving forward. All right. So today's topic, living in truth. I'm going to start with a quote from one of my favorite books. Where are we at on time? All right, cool. The Kabbalion. This is one of my Bibles. And these are spiritual and metaphysics teachings from the African scholar and scribe Tahuti. This wisdom is attributed to the Greeks, but I assure you, nothing could be further from the truth. But in order to stay on topic, let me stay on topic. All right, so on page 128, quote, the strong men and women of the world invariably manifest the masculine principle of will, and their strength depends materially upon this fact. Instead of living upon the impressions made upon their minds by others, they dominate their own minds by their will, obtaining the kind of mental images desired, and moreover, dominate the minds of others likewise in the same manner. Looking at the strong people, how they manage to implant their seed thoughts in the minds of the masses of the people, thus causing the latter to think thoughts in accordance with the desires and wills of the strong individuals. This is why the masses of people are such sheeple like creatures, never originating an idea of their own, not using their own powers of mental activity. And then going back to page 109, this is a quote that you guys have heard me reference often, and this is, a segue into our topic, living in truth. That was a segue also, because obviously, in the bigger scheme of things, we're talking about how to thrive in times of uncertainty. So you juxtapose that and look at why so many people are not thriving, not just because of the uncertainty and the climate in the air right now, but just, for the course of most of our lives. Most people are not thriving because they are at the discretion and under the power, so to speak, of, the strong minded people, as the quote references. So on page 109, it says the teachings are that a man may be both free and yet bound by necessity, depending upon the meaning of the terms and the height of truth from which the matter is examined. The ancient writers express the matter thus: the further the creation is from the center, the more it is bound. The nearer the center it reaches, the nearer free it is. So let me read that again. The further the creation is from the center, or in ZaZa terms, or in ZaZa language, or in saying this in another way, the further you are from the truth of who you really are, the more you are bound or living in a mental and spiritual prison, if you will, right? So the further away you are from the truth of yourself, the more or less free you are, or the more bound you are. The nearer you are to the center, but let me quote it verbatim, the nearer the center it reaches, the nearer free it is, or the closer you are to who you truly are at the core of your being, the more free you are. And I always, I've highlighted this passage and then circled it and underlined it in a lot of different ways because it really, really has such a significant meaning and concept for me personally. Obviously, that's how I first looked at it. And then in terms of the broader scope of the world, we have created an environment now where people are accepting slavery. We've created an environment now on this planet. We've all participated directly or indirectly, an environment where people are accepting prison, mental, spiritual, emotional, and at times physical, accepting prison And it's going to have ripple effects, right? It's not just what's happening in the moment and in the right now. Everything that's happening within the collective consciousness is going to have ripple effects down the line. So, I'm going to talk about this more when I deal in spiritual hibernation. But one thing that I've noticed over the past year, in my personal life with people that I deal with, family, friends, uh, associates, etc., is that people's personal hell is expanding. And so, because I am, the person that most of the people, if not all of the people in my life, come to for guidance, for advice, to help them settle their energy, to get my perspective on what's happening in their world and kind of help them walk through it. I've noticed that there's been confrontational energy, volatile energy from family and friends, right? In terms of their personal hell increasing and them needing my assistance to pull them out of the personal hell, wanting, directly or indirectly asking for, sometimes it's a subconscious thing, sometimes it's flat out conscious right in your face. Um, but needing assistance and guidance. But when it presents itself to me, it's combative, you know? And I'm not going to join you in your personal hell. I'm not going to contribute to that type of environment. I'm not going to allow anything to pull me down off of my frequency because it's too hard to get the consistency with the energy and the mindset and the well-being. And you have 2 weeks of great harmonious energy and everything's flowing, and then all of a sudden here comes an email, or here comes a random interaction at the bank, or ex-boyfriend from 5 years ago tapping at your door via text, right? All those type of things. So in the broader context, right, and this is for the leaders among us, the spiritual lights among us, the usually the people that are the most ostracized and the most um neglected, right, in society, in our families, in our communities, are the ones that everybody turns to. It's interesting, it's ironic, it's fascinating, are the ones that people turn to for guidance and assistance, right? So that's a microcosm, my personal experience, and then the macrocosm is that as the world continues to turn up and the darkness expands, if that is the case, because that is the agenda. I'm not going to speak it into existence. I hear a lot of people talking about these people's intentions and goals as if it already is. No, I know what you're planning. A lot of it's already been successful. Look around. But I won't speak that into existence as if it's a fact, right? Because the gods are on the scene. God is on the scene. Allah, Jah, Ptah, Ra, whatever your concept of the creator, source energy, the universe, I'm okay with all of that, right? So as this energy increases and the ignorance increases, the light beings among us are going to become the focal point for guidance. Help me get out of this. I don't understand. I need clarity. It's amazing, right? So I'm just kind of, in looking at that and looking what's happening in the broader context of the world, those of you guys that are healers, that are spiritually minded, that are striving to live righteous, that are working on yourself and trying to see yourself from the spiritual lens and from God's lens opposed to the lens of this world, there's gonna have to be hibernation. There's gonna have to be turning the world off, turning a blind eye. Daniel in the lion's den turn his back on the lion. You know what I'm saying? Lions turned his back. That's pure unadulterated faith. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. That's not talking about a church. That's talking about Christ consciousness, what's in your mind and what's in your heart. Those are going to be the, you know, the factors for the qualification for moving into a new earth, your vibrational countenance, what you expect from the world, right? How you think about the world, what your personal expectations are for your energetic resonance and how you move out into the world. How are you touching people? Not just physically touching, pause. Your energetic resonance. What do people feel from you when you walk into a room? So coming back to, you know, my subject matter, the ones who have been ostracized, who know how to live in the world without family or without support, you know what I mean? But have gotten beyond the bitter, angry aspect of themselves and have used those experiences to propel them into their highest heights, right? I'm one of those people. My master teacher was excuse me, not having a mother. You know what I mean? So um I don't want to be around people not living in truth. And I've always said where one cannot find like minded people, one should be found alone. How many of us have the mental and the emotional and the spiritual and the physical countenance to still be able to thrive in those type of environments? And I'm not talking about thugging it out all alone, but as I've talked about before, if you think about that pyramid aspect, the higher you go in frequency and in personal self accountability and awareness and consciousness, yes, there's going to be less people at the top of that pyramid, but the frequency at the top of that pyramid is so strong and so consistent and self assured that it's impossible for those people not to come together and connect, those like minded frequency energies. Right? So it's not a question of when you're going to meet your tribe or when you're going to attract your soulmate. It's just a question of how long is it going to take? And when you're thinking about how long is it going to take, you're already off frequency, right? More about that in the coming subjects. But as difficult as everything that I've been talking about and everything that's going on in the world is, I'd rather know than not know because I'm living in truth. So I'm not sticking my head in the sand. Got to be balanced, obviously, because the weight of this is very, it's a serious situation, right? But I'd rather know than not know. So there's levels to living in truth, right? Because now we have people that have compromised themselves, compromised their bodies, compromised their children potentially, compromising family members trying to project your will, what you think is right for other people, right? We have all of these complexities within the human dichotomy that are taking place. And people are, complying left and right. I don't want to do this. I think it's going to make me sick. So what? You're going to lose your job. Okay. What do I need to do? Afraid of being able to take care of yourself and take care of your family when the planet is 196,940,000 square miles. There's a video that I show in my Kingdom Within presentation of a lettuce, a romaine lettuce. If you cut the stem of the lettuce off and put it in a bottle, excuse me, a bowl of water, the romaine lettuce will grow a full head of lettuce just from chopping off the root, and putting it in water. So we live in a extremely abundant environment when it comes to the planet. You put a seed in the ground and could potentially give birth to 20 or 50 or 100 or 1,000 new fruits or vegetables. So when we talk about living in truth, right, we have serial settlers among us, not cereal like Fruit Loops. Serial, SERIAL, repetitive, continuous. Serial settlers, settling in relationships, settling in business, settling in jobs, careers, settling in terms of your intentions for your life, what you want to come into fruition, right? That's not living in truth. You staying in a relationship that is draining the life out of you or that is keeping you from flying to your highest heights for name the reason. You staying in a job or putting poison in your body because you think that you can't get a better job or that somehow you're going to be lost, as if the universe and the creator and God doesn't love you infinitely. So compromising yourself, compromising your integrity for a job because you're scared that you won't be able to take your, homeschooling and subjecting your children to this madness because you have to work and you can't homeschool and et cetera, et cetera. Where there is a will, there is a way, I can assure you. I'm fasting, by the way, guys. I haven't eaten since Thursday evening. So my willpower, speaking of will, is strong. You know what I mean? I have no food in my system. I'm running on tea and water right now. Feeling great, actually. I'm excited about my workshop today because I know God speaks through me and expresses through me in a very beautiful way when I'm fasting. Living in truth also means not being bound by the mistakes of your past. Fuck that. Especially like, listen, we live in Babylon. You know what I'm saying? We've been raised in the jungle. This is madness. The world that these people have created is absolutely madness. So people have had to do things in order to navigate this world, extreme things at different points in their lives to make it through. No family support or black man just trying to figure it out and get his life together and keeps bumping his head against racism, white supremacy. Women out in the world trying to establish themselves for their mind and their consciousness and their creativity that are being subjugated and limited to objects. Okay, yeah, engineering sounds great, but we want to see ass and titties, that type of stuff. Pardon my language. If you're living in the present, which is what living in truth is, then that's not your truth anymore. What you did 10 years ago is no longer your truth. What you did 5 years ago, unless you're still stuck in the same time frame and consciousness of 5 years ago, which is odd. If you are, please contact me for a consultation. We need to get that clear. If you're living in the present, you can't be criticizing and beating yourself and judging yourself up for what you did in the past. And remember, it's amazing how much BS we've all had to deal with in this environment to survive. So relax. We're not beating ourselves up anymore of what we had to do to survive in this insanity. That's living in the past. Television is the greatest tool of taking you out of your imagination and putting you in theirs. And this is the grand scheme of the world that we're looking at right now. I've seen things on the news and heard things in passing or things that are happening in the world that in my mind takes me back to a film, like bits and pieces here and there, different movies at different time frames, right? So as I said in a video before, if Hollywood is their vision board, so to speak, right? It's what has accumulated in the collective consciousness that has allowed what is taking place on the planet to take place. And television takes you out of your imagination and puts you into theirs. So a lot of people are living vicariously through celebrities now. Real Housewives of Atlanta and Keeping Up with the Kardashians and reality TV. Because as long as their lives look glamorous and sexy and fun and amazing, you don't have to focus so much on what yours doesn't look like or what yours looks like or the lack thereof. These people have been rewarding people for living in a lie. If you submitted to this agenda in the past 2 years, you've been rewarded. Coworkers giving you the thumbs up, everybody having this false sense of camaraderie, right? The news is cheering you. The hospitals are cheering you. Your doctor's cheering you when you come in. This collective consciousness that has been manipulated and mass created that we're looking at right now and pretending like this is humanity, it's insanity. So now we have people scrambling for guidance, maybe. If this situation intensifies, the scrambling for guidance and advice and awareness is going to expand. Where are you going to get it from? This is the time now for spiritual and mental and intellectual hibernation, not going into a cave and hiding, being in this world but not of it, but allowing and focusing on your personal vision and goals and aspirations for your life so that it is more intense and more consistent and more in alignment than these people's vision and views for the world. That's the balance. There's a war on the hearts and the minds of the people of this planet. And the heart center is where the truth lies. They can't handle love. They can only handle victims. And we're not doing victim-based consciousness moving forward. We're not doing lack-based consciousness moving forward. So a lot of people have abandoned their soul's mission. That's one of the macrocosm lessons in all of this. There could only be a mass global lockdown and mass indoctrination and mass fear campaign and mass lack-based consciousness and mass compromising and loss of integrity and loss of internal focus and loss of connection with God and with source within people that have abandoned their soul's mission. What is your soul's mission? You listening to me now. That's a real question. Are you seeking truth? Because if you're not, then you by default are going to be living in a part of the lie. All of this, the news, 90% of what's on social media, the lack of authenticity, the lack of depth, the lack of substance on a day-to-day basis is mind-blowing to me. So when we talk about the kingdom within, is there a kingdom within you? I don't know. If you're living in truth, there is kingdom, queendom, If you're living in truth, there is. But if you've abandoned your soul's mission, no. Even the concept, the thought, what is your soul's mission? I've talked about contraction versus expansion, right? Fear contracts. It's a balled up fist. Love expands. Courage expands. Being curious about life expands. Being inspired about life expands. Your energetic resonance maintaining a love frequency expands, right? So as long as you're operating from trauma or fear-based consciousness or lack-based consciousness, you are not a threat to this system. You are already under control. But if you haven't abandoned your soul's mission, or if you're seeking your soul's mission, or if you're seeking truth, or if you've already decided, I refuse to compromise myself, regardless of whom or what, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I'm not doing that. Then you are living in truth. ZaZaAli.com is my website. Info@ZaZaAli.com is my email address. I'll see y'all soon. Peace and love.